Around halfway through this story about a family taken hostage, we discovered the greatest twist in cinema history. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. This treacherous tale begins at a gas station where a ranger notes to the clerk that a dangerous duo has robbed a bank and is headed towards the border. Along the way, the brotherly bandits have already killed multiple rangers, cops, and civilians, and they have hostages. The man goes to drain the main vein, and suddenly, the criminals appear. This one's Seth, the level-headed of the pair. He suspects the clerk may be trying to double-cross them, and Richie, the crazy one, insists that he's trying to signal the ranger. Look man, I'm doing my best to act natural. Under the circumstances, I had to get an Academy Award. Everyone composes themselves, and the ranger returns. Alright, everything's going well, we're natural, we're calm. Richie's straight wildin'. Even his brother's like, whoa, what are you doing? Richie insists that the clerk was mouthing something to the ranger, but he wasn't. Things quickly escalate, and there we go again. Poor guy, he followed their instructions and still got shot. Time to seek vengeance. So anyway, he starts blasting, managing to put a clean hole right through Richie's hand. The brothers take cover, and Seth instructs Richie to shoot out the beer bottles behind the counter while he prepares a warm surprise. During the commotion, the hostages run free. The clerk is engulfed in flames, but like a phoenix, he rises from the ashes. Though, the affair is short-lived. As they say, the brightest flames burn out the quickest. Well, time to head out.
Low profile.
Say Richie, how's that hand doing? Well, aside from the fact I can see you through it, pretty well. The pair book a stay at a hotel. Oh, and they still got this hostage. Seth gives her a set of rules to follow. Number 1, make a noise and Mr. 44 makes a noise. Number 2, ask a question and Mr. 44 answers. She hears him loud and clear, then Seth heads out to get some munchies. Shortly after, Richie invites her to the bedroom to watch TV with him. Meanwhile, we meet the Fuller family at a diner. We got the dad, Jacob, the daughter, Kate, and Scott, his honest-to-God biological son. Don't ask questions. They're doing a family road trip, but Dad's pretty exhausted. He wants to sleep in a real bed, so they're going to stop at a motel. Scott then excuses himself, and Kate questions her father about his recent life choices. You see, their mother recently died, and as a result, he quit his job as a pastor. With his faith in God diminished, he doesn't see how he can continue on that path. We then cut to a news broadcast detailing the exploits of the bandit brothers. A news lady enthusiastically reads off their kill count like it's a high score in a video game. We've got 5 rangers, 8 police officers, 3 civilians, and 1 hostage. The police expect their capture within 48 hours, and yeah, it's personal. Back to Seth. He arrives back to the motel with food in hand. He greets his brother, then offers him a burger. Wait a second, where's the hostage?
She's in there.
Seth inspects and stares blankly at the carnage before him. Flashes of brutality strike our vision while he asks his brother, what's wrong with you? He insists it was her fault.
Became a completely different person. Yeah.
Seth berates his brother, explaining that this isn't how we do things. But his brotherly love kicks in, and he assures him that once they're in Mexico, it'll be rainbows and sunshine and rice and beans. I'm hungry now. The Fuller family arrives at the same hotel, and they almost run over Seth, who leaves them with a mysterious glance. After the family settles in, Richie pays them a visit, and then things get serious. Seth explains their predicament, just as a startled Kate returns.
We're having a bikini contest, and you just won.
Richie can barely keep his eyes off her, as Seth has him bring the truck around. Kate goes to quickly get dressed, then Jacob tries to spare his children from the fate of being held hostage. Unfortunately, Seth wants them all, and he's rather persuasive. Everybody gets aboard the express train to Mexico, and Seth snoops through Jacob's wallet while asking him personal questions. We learn that his wife died in a car accident, and he shares that he was a pastor, though, as we know, those days are behind him. In the back, Richie sits with the kids and really takes a liking to Kate. And her feet. Okay, he's one of those. He starts to chat her up, but fortunately, Seth chimes in and tells him to keep it quiet. Jacob warns Seth that if Richie touches her, he'll kill him. Fair enough, he says, and if you screw things up, I'll take you all out. Jacob agrees to play along, and as they approach Border Patrol, he meets his first test. Seth, Richie, and Kate hide in the bathroom while Scott moves up to sit alongside his dad. He urges him to speak up, citing the reality shows he watches as evidence that criminals are not to be trusted. His dad refuses, stating that he's the one calling the shots here. The officer walks up and questions Jacob. How many people you got? Just me and my son. What's your business in Mexico? Oh, that's easy. Cheap. Meanwhile, Richie's getting rowdy in the back. He thinks this is a terrible idea and can't shut up about it. Seth urges him to stop being such a nut, but this only stokes his fire. He pushes Kate to the side, causing a thudding sound. The officer outside hears this, and Jacob explains that his daughter is in the bathroom. I thought you were only here with your son. The man decides to investigate further and enters the RV. Seth takes dire action and whacks his wacko brother.
Thanks.
Upon inspecting the bathroom, the officer finds Kate. The officer departs, and Seth gives her a look of approval.
Damn, that was intense.
I know, I wrote it. Drop a like. back. Let's go. We did it, boys. Now, one more stop. Seth gives Jacob the directions to a bar. Apparently, you can't miss it. They're gonna wait there until the brothers can rendezvous with their contact. They arrive at the... can I even say this? Anyway, they make it to the bar, which has a wide selection of Alright, I'm sold. You had me at smelly. As they make their way in, the man stops them. Apparently, this is a private bar. Seth hits him with the 3-piece combo. And then they all head in. Oh, and Richie throws in some fries. Upon entering, Seth is taken aback by the blood-rushing sights.
Whoa. I become a regular.
He asks the bartender for a shot of whiskey. He pours one, but enjoys it all to himself. You see, this bar is for bikers and truckers only. A man grabs Seth from behind and begins counting down to 3. Seth counters with his own countdown. Wait, that's illegal. Jacob steps in and tells everyone to calm down. He drove in an RV, which is technically a truck, as you need a trucker's license to drive it, which makes him a trucker. And these are his guests. A barroom brawl has been narrowly avoided. For now, Seth finds an empty table. I said empty. Then we get a look at this guy. So that's what he meant when he said, Blicky got the stiffy. Seth offers everyone shots, but Jacob refuses. Instead, his kids have a go at it. Seth angrily bangs the shot glass against the table, prompting Jacob to ask, "Why you mad, bro?" Seth reveals that he's still upset about that guy who tried him earlier. So, Jacob gasses him up a bit. "You've won. The entire state of Texas is after you, but you're here, in Mexico. You made it. Might as well enjoy it." Right on cue, the main event is about to begin. The bartender announces the entrance of the most sinister woman to walk the earth, Santa Nico. Heck yeah, my dudes! I wish that was my snake. We're treated to a scintillating display before Santa Nico sensually slithers towards the table of our protagonists. She pours a drink down her leg and into the mouth of Richie. Fun fact, this is Quentin Tarantino. He actually wrote the film and is notoriously into feet. Repeat after me. That's nasty. Everybody rightfully applauds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But the cheery atmosphere quickly turns sour. The guy they beat up is finally back on his feet, and he's not happy. He rallies his squad, and they approach the bandits. Things get dicey quick. Richie stabs the bartender, while Seth ices Mr. Countdown. As the pair hold the entire bar at gunpoint, Santa Nico takes on a sinister gaze, and one of the men begins to giggle. This rubs Seth and Richie the wrong way. Now you guys are definitely out of bullets. Suddenly, Jacob notices something peculiar. The knife Richie stabbed the bartender with is covered in green ooze. Then, Santa Nico becomes entranced by Richie's bloody hand. What? We're in a vampire movie? Oh my god. Santa Nico attacks Richie, and Seth takes aim. And the movie counts as bullets. This is a gem. Before Seth can reload, Richie's already missing a chunk of his neck. Seth fires, but it's already too late. His beloved brother quickly bleeds out and dies. One by one, the fallen foes rise from the dead. They start attacking everybody, but this guy's covered. By the way, his name is Sus, so we're just gonna call him Jeff.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the dancers barricades the door. Oh, she bad. Never mind. Actually, problem solved. A feeding frenzy ensues as the vampires dig into their fresh meals. Meanwhile, the band continues to provide excellent music. The humans stand no chance. The carnage unfolds in what can only be described as hell on earth. One of the vamps charges Kate, but she cleverly uses her cross necklace against it. The reaction is instant. The monster begins to melt and ooze before popping like a zit. We see another man, Frost, have success against the creatures as he flips a table over and one by one skewers not one, not two, not three, but 4 whole-ass vampire baddies. Damn. Jeff is also out here racking up a kill streak, though he gets the attention of our juiced-up bartender. He's so confident, he tosses him his weapon. This dude's going for style points. He lassos the vampire, then takes care of business. Meanwhile, Seth lives out my fantasy as Santa Nico steps on him.
You'll be my slave.
She morphs into her true form and welcomes Seth to slavery.
No thanks. I already had a wife.
He fires, hitting a chandelier which falls and impales the seductive succubus. She perishes like the rest, then one of her comrades seeks to avenge her. Frost gets his attention and hits him with some Mortal Kombat shit. Okay, all that did was make him more angry. Seth and Jacob have a go.
Get him up, let him get up, let him get up, let him get up. Fight back! Fight back!
Then, Jeff pulls up and finishes the job. It's not over yet as 4 she-devils emerge. Everybody squares up, then goes to war. Well, how the turntables. Our 4 heroes emerge triumphant as the bodies burn away. Now for the band. Almost forgot those guys. They flip the bird and blow themselves up. I mean, that works. Seth walks over to Richie's body and tells him he loves him. To his surprise, he responds.
I love you too, Seth.
The others spring into action to defeat Richie, but Seth stops them. Jacob pleads with him, "Don't be a fool. He's not your brother anymore." Though, Seth rather figured that out for himself. He eyes Richie, and his killer intent is undeniable. He has the others restrain him as he carries the burden of putting his own brother down. As he jams the stake through his chest, he wishes him a peaceful rest. He's torn up about the whole ordeal and turns to booze, but Jacob urges him to stay sober. This nightmare isn't over yet. Suddenly, we hear flapping sounds surround the building. They're bats. Fun fact, George Clooney was Batman. Anyway, the sounds frighten Kate, and as she cowers in fear, a newly transformed vampire crawls over. It attacks, slithering up her body. Jeff saves her, and then everyone realizes they probably ought to deal with this before they all wake up. The crew goes around stabbing the bodies before they transform, but Kate hesitates with hers. Eventually, wakes up and she takes action. Jeff checks in on her, but during this moment of inattentiveness, he's blindsided. The vamp takes a piece out of Jeff and takes it with him on his way back to hell. Unfortunately, Jeff doesn't tell the others. A little lull in the action proceeds as Seth helps everyone process what they just saw. So, I'm not saying it's vampires, but it's vampires. Everyone is in agreement, and they discuss some of their notable weaknesses, crosses, stakes, and holy water. While this is going on, Kate comments on the constant sounds of the bats. This prompts Frost to begin a rambling war story about his time in Vietnam. He gleefully relives getting his revenge while the enemy was asleep. As he demonstrates his literally killer moves, Jeff is beginning to transform. First, he sprouts a fang, then his hands change, and before Frost can conclude his tantalizing tale, Jeff's creepy fingers comically crawl up his back. Jacob tears him off, but gets bit for his troubles. Then, Frost and Jeff face off before Frost launches him out the door, letting all the bats in the process. At the same time, he's already transformed. The three survivors run off as the now undead Frost directs the bats their way. The trio successfully makes their way through the cavernous depths of the building and find refuge in a storage room. Kate remarks that they need to go back for her dad, but Seth believes him to be dead. We cut to Jacob, who's hiding under the bar. He grabs a bat and a shotgun and forms what is possibly the most badass cross ever to hit the silver screen. And it doesn't just look good. Now that's what I call practical. Jacob slowly backs himself through the pathway and knocks on the door. They let him in. He confirms that he's been bitten and gives the group an ultimatum. We can either go out guns blazing and maybe survive, or wait around and surely die. They choose the former. They all scavenge through the storage room and find a plethora of random supplies. Turns out the reason the bar only accepted truckers and bikers was so they can steal all their loot. Everybody gears up with guns, crossbows, a stake stabby thingy, and holy water filled super soakers. Now that they're dripped out, the squad heads out to clear the final wave. Things start off great. The holy water works wonders. Kate's sniping fools, Dad's blasting away, and Seth's loving his new toy. Sadly, it runs out of gas just as Jeff drops in. Seth manages to snag his lasso, wrap it around his neck, and yank his head off. He kicks it towards Cake, who delivers the killing blow. Not so fast. The remaining body sprouts a new rat-like head and limbs. It ends up on top of Seth, and as they tussle, Kate signals him to lift the rat. She toggles her aimbot and gets off a clean headshot. Then, Seth eats the creature. One more shot to make sure this thing is gonzo. Atta girl. Jacob runs into Frost, and boy, is he ugly. He jams his shotgun through his gut and uses him as a living shield. Well, actually he's dead. Anyway, Jacob manages to dispatch several more vampires, including Frost. Though, several monsters take their place and surround Jacob. But, they suddenly stop their assault. Scott watches on and realizes his father has turned. Before he can do anything, his father lunges in and takes a bite. Scott retaliates with some holy water, then picks up a gun and finishes his poor father off. Kate screams out, and immediately after, Scott is too in the grips of these monsters. They begin to eat him alive, and he asks Kate to end his suffering. She obliges. Apparently, Scott was filled with dynamite. Now, just Seth and Kate remain. As the vampires surround the pair, Kate contemplates saving the bullets to use on themselves. Suddenly, a shining ray of light brightens up their situation, and I don't mean that metaphorically. Like literally, it's morning. Kate turns her guns to the walls and punches out a couple more holes for the light to leak in. The vampires are unable to close in as the burning beams stand in their way. Then, a voice emerges from outside. "I'm looking for Seth." Oh wow, the guys that we're supposed to meet up with are finally here. Seth calls for them to blast out the doors, and they oblige. The vampires are brought to bear the full force of the sun. Then, Seth warmly greets his friend, and then they prepare to head out for El Rey, their final destination. Now without a family, Kate asks to go along with Seth, but in the end, he's a good guy. He tells her to go home. She gets in her family's RV and drives off. As the camera pans out, we see that the bar was actually a Mayan temple. What'd you think? Pretty good twist, huh?